what we're calling this, our customers are calling it more and more, is operational intelligence. So not just searching, but actually providing value to the business in terms of very quickly identifying problems, identifying issues, identifying opportunities, whether it's better managing IT, security, or even better managing the business from a website and a revenue point of view, and driving better decisions within IT and outside of IT. And Gartner actually came up with several steps years ago. The basic level they called IT chaos, where there's no search engine, your data's in silos, you can't find anything, you've got 15 people on a call for 12 hours trying to figure out why the website's down. And step one was IT search. Bring Splunk in, let it eat all your data, and then be able to search through billions of events in a couple of seconds and find the exact root cause that you were looking for. And that in itself, tremendous drop in MGTR and things like that. But as Christina mentioned, customers very quickly realized that once they saw these issues or problems, they could create alerts and do all sorts of proactive alerting, conditional alerts, thresholds, trending, things like that, to basically fix issues before they become apparent to any of the end customers. We have more and more customers now saying that despite the fact they already have the Big Four, APM, and other solutions out there, with Splunk for the first time, they now have end-to-end IT visibility. End-to-end visibility about what exactly is going on throughout their infrastructure. And some of our more innovative customers are now taking the technology and applying it in generic IT type ways and also vertically specific ways to better run their business. And I'll just give you a few examples because we'd like you to get a good view of how Splunk can help outside of your typical use case. Picked a couple of customers in the New York, New Jersey area, and Moody's, New York Life, both mainstream financial service and information customers. And they both have a lot of existing technology. And they both talking about how Splunk are finally able to understand what's going on in infrastructure and proactively troubleshoot and monitor. And I picked Cricket Communications. Cricket is a wireless service provider, somewhat similar to Metro PCS. They initially brought Splunk in for security investigations, very traditional use case for IT search. When they upgraded to version 4, they saw that they could create all sorts of custom views and dashboards and create these in basically 5 minutes. And their view was we can now go to the different business groups, understand what information they need, and provide them reports that they didn't have before, such as real-time activations, new customers by type of phone, by type of account plan, and being able to show it on a CEO's desktop, and being able to do it in minutes rather than a 6-month BI type project. Edmunds.com, I love that site, great car info. Another typical user brought us in for root cause analysis. They're having problems with web performance issues and downtime. Once they realized they had all the data in Splunk, they realized that they could actually do all sorts of analytics and a much better understanding of how their online customers were interacting with the website and the different digital assets, and reorganize the website to be better from a revenue point of view. Sony, completely different industry, same type of thing. They have, I can't remember if it was open through Tivoli, but they found a Splunk. They now can look at all the data and get a complete view end to end. And Splunk has become their system of record. It's the first place they look to try and understand what's going on in their infrastructure. And they too realize that with all the clickstream and web data, they can get a much better understanding of how their customers are using their website for online gaming and digital downloads. Corporate Express, it's basically Staples in Australia. They are a very big SAP shop, and they brought us in for some very specific IT infrastructure issues. But again, they realized they could get all the SAP application logs, events, and other data into Splunk, and they could create all sorts of reports to help them better manage SAP as an app and as a service, and provide views that non-IT people wanted to see, and they weren't able to see for the 12 years they had SAP. And just one or two other examples. This is a public media company based actually in DC. And they brought us in for some infrastructure issues. They already had some web analytics software. And then they realized that what they really cared about were not just, page views and unique visitors. They wanted to know what was going on the website. What's going on with the Masterpiece Theater downloads, with the audio downloads. They want to be able to track it so they can market it better, royalty accounting, things like that. And the traditional web analytics could not give them any idea of what was going on with those digital assets. All they had were traditional metrics and marketing people. Salesforce, another good example. A lot of cloud providers and SaaS providers are using Splunk now. And again, they typically bring us in because they have troubleshooting issues, performance issues. Salesforce, their big thing is staying out of the Wall Street Journal. They're really big. They've actually got about 80,000 customers. Anytime they go down, it makes the headlines. But once they realize that they have the data in Splunk, they call it a treasure chest. And now they're evolving their services based on better understanding which services are being used and how. They're figuring out when's the best time to upgrade new releases. And they're actually providing new services to their customers, such as tracking web email campaigns. So they're using Splunk to create new reports for their customers, not just managing internally for better SLAs. Christina showed the example before of a variety of traditional IT infrastructure data going to Splunk. And that is the traditional use cases. But now, more and more, we're seeing virtually any kind of IT machine-generated data being put in Splunk. We have telcos and cable companies putting in call detail records, event detail records, IP detail records, things like that, GPS and RFID data, and combining this machine-generated time series unstructured data with traditional structured data databases. So if you've got people who have shopping cart issues and you've got drop shopping carts, do you know what SKUs are in those carts? Splunk can also do lookups for the prices of those SKUs and figure out what lost revenue you can attribute to that particular product. So it gives you a whole new way to prioritize IT issues and infrastructure planning. Christina talked before about the approach that the founders took, that they didn't have a traditional relational database, traditional schema-based approach. And that really is one of the cores to the technology. That's what gives it the flexibility. The ability to put virtually any kind of unstructured data into the system, not worry up front about what schema you've got or what questions you're going to want to ask. You can ask anything at the time you want to ask it. And the Splunk and the index can figure out exactly what information to present to you, reports or dashboards. We like to think of it in terms of traditional relational databases created for structured business data. The multidimensional OLAP type of technology was created for financial analysts and some business analysts. And now there's a whole new generation of IT data engines or IT databases designed specifically to help you manage and get value out of this IT data. And we talked about what Splunk with 4.1 forward can do. And it really is a single system, a single data store, a single UI that lets you do all sorts of real-time dashboards, live streaming data, live analysis, and deep search and drill down, the middle segment, which is the core that Splunk is known for. And we don't know of any other system that can capture all this data and make it available so you can have the real-time dashboards, the long-term historical analytics for low and slower tax compliance, IT capacity planning, and then the deep drill down to figure out exactly what's going on, what's the issue, what needs to be fixed. This is just, for those of you who are relatively new to Splunk, this is a very, pretty high-level view of what's going on with Splunk. The basic concept is IT data sources come in, they're indexed in real time. We have a capability called universal indexing. Again, you don't need to know anything about the data as it gets indexed. The real-time search engine can search and monitor in real time on the data that's coming into the system. It then has all the core functions like search language, statistical analytics, dashboard creation, reporting, things like that. It's got the role-based access controls, highly granular, so you can create specific roles and restrict those particular individuals to specific data types, data sources, specific